If you are someone that has a real love for storytelling, loves creating content, loves taking maybe something that might be quite dry and boring and telling it in an engaging way, and if you love working with people, then this might be a great career for you. You want to work in internal communications, but you're not sure where to start. I got you. This video is for you if you want to pursue a career in internal communication and you're looking for some insights and advice. There's a lot of confusion around about how to start a career in this profession. And in fairness, so many people that work in internal communications will tell you that they sort of fell into this career, that it was never an intentional path for them. So there's quite limited advice on how to actually intentionally go about getting a job in internal comms and having a great career. So let's spend some time talking about that today. And at the end of the video, I will give you 3 of my top tips for long-term success in your internal comms career. I'm Joanna, I'm a communications consultant and nerd. I'm here to help you communicate better at work and to have a great career in internal communication. This content is totally free. Your only cost of entry is to hit that subscribe button down below and support my channel. Okay, let's get started. Some of the key skills that you will need to succeed as an internal communication professional. This is not an exhaustive list, but here's a couple of the key skills that I think are really important. So as we go through these, maybe take a couple of notes. See which of these skills you're already quite strong in. See which ones are maybe slightly weaker for you, because you can make yourself an action plan of getting stronger in the ones that you're a little bit weak in. Okay, the first skill that I really think that anyone needs in this industry is curiosity. Now, this is a big one for me. I named my business The Curious Route. I really firmly believe that curiosity is fundamental to internal communications. And what this looks like is simply being really curious about why things are the way they are, why things are done the way they're done, and how could things be improved, do things need to change. It's always asking questions. And it could be simple questions, like a process question. It could be a question like, why do we send the newsletter at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? Or it could be bigger, more strategic question, like, how does this project align with our broader communication goals and strategy? Good communicator asks questions, lots and lots of questions, because it helps us to really understand what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve, and if everything makes sense. Another core skill you'll want, particularly early in your career, is the ability to write and edit really well, because you'll likely be responsible for doing lots of content creation, particularly in junior roles. So you might be writing articles for a newsletter or a blog, or you might be proofreading somebody's speech, and your writing needs to resonate with whatever particular audience you're writing to. So it's a really good skill to be able to change the style of writing, to be able to write in a different tone. You might even be expected to do some ghost writing for senior leaders. So to be able to adopt their tone of voice in your writing is really important. Another critical skill you're going to need in any internal communications job is interpersonal skills, the ability to work well with lots of different and diverse stakeholders. Internal communicators tend to work across every department in the business. I heard it described once on a podcast as a silo surfer. So an internal communicator doesn't sit in a silo, but rather they surf across all the silos in an organization and work with everybody. So you really have to be good at working with people. I would recommend that you should enjoy working with people if you want to work in this field. And you need to be able to collaborate really well with people of all different levels. So you might be working directly with the leaders and executives. You might be working with junior people. You might be working with engineers. You might be working well with people in marketing. So you need to be able to build up good relationships and listen well and problem solve and collaborate together. And another skill that's really useful is just being good with technology. There's so much new technology coming out all the time. Lots of it is really, really helpful for us as internal communicators. You don't need to be up to speed with every piece of tech that comes out, but a curiosity about tools, a willingness to play around with new tech, that's a really good skill and really important. So these are a couple of the top line skills that you will need in a career in internal communication. So I wonder, as you're listening to this, which one of these stands out to you as, oh, I'm not great at that. So maybe you don't play around with new tools. Maybe you don't like to look at new technology that's coming out. That's something that you could work on. Maybe you're thinking, actually, my interpersonal skills are really, really strong. I already have that ticked off. Okay, let's talk about education and training next. Do you need a formal qualification to get a job in internal communications? Well, the kind of annoying answer to this is it depends. For the most part, no. but it totally depends on the company and on the hiring manager. So for some reason, some companies still require a university degree on your CV or resume, even to get an interview. So sometimes on internal communication job specs, you might see that it says that they want a degree in communications or a degree in journalism. Now, that's not always the case. And full disclosure, I do not have a degree in communications. My degree is in sociology. I later did a certificate in internal communications with a training institute. And funny story, I now teach that same course in that training institute. So the student has quite literally become the teacher. Now, I mentioned that my university degree was in sociology. Lots of people that work in internal communications have a different degree background than communications. Many people who work in internal communications come from a range of different backgrounds. So some might have a university degree in communications, they might have worked in journalism, maybe they trained in PR, sometimes they've trained in marketing, sometimes they've even come from a HR background. And there's lots of good transferable skills in all of these. I definitely found that having my background in sociology, where I have extensive deep training in different research methodologies and just a keen sense of curiosity and wanting to get deeper, that has stood to me really well in internal communications, and it's been directly transferable. Now, don't worry if your degree or your background isn't in one of these areas. Internal communication is a relatively new industry in terms of its maturity. Like, lots of companies are still only hiring their first internal communicator now. Lots of companies don't have an internal comms team yet. So think about the transferable skills that you have. Think about the skills I mentioned earlier on. If you are ticking the box on some of them, or you're generally interested in building up some of them, then absolutely you can go for a career in this industry. Now, in saying that, pursuing training and some sort of workshops or upskilling is highly beneficial. I definitely recommend it. I work as a lecturer and a trainer for internal communicators. I teach people all the time a range of things: effective writing, communications measurement, how to build a strategy, how to build a plan. And I think that any of these kind of workshops are going to help you with the practical sides of the job. I will put a link in the description below to my mailing list, so you can join my email list if you're interested in joining any workshops or training directly with me. They are available to anyone, anywhere in the world. The key for me is about continuous learning. Our industry is not static. It's always changing, always evolving. And it's just important that you are curious enough and have a growth mindset that you want to keep improving your skills and keep learning new things. Okay, now let's talk about how do you actually get some experience in internal communication. Like many careers, getting your foot in the door, getting your very first job is often the hardest bit. If you're in school, if you've just graduated, you're just starting out, you could look for an internship. That's often the first job that people get. You can look for an internship in corporate communications, in internal communications, in public relations, even in marketing. Anything that will give you exposure to the key tasks and skills that you would need to work in internal communications, because you can use these transferable skills to make a lateral move into internal comms later on. In junior roles, you'll often be looking for a job that's called something like internal communications officer, internal communications executive, internal communications specialist. These are often really broad and varied roles, very hands-on, very tactical, and you can learn a lot very quickly. Another really important thing that you should be doing early in your career is networking, which is so cringy, I know, but one of the easiest and best ways to do it is on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a really amazing social media tool for connecting with other communication professionals, for building your professional network, and also for learning and sharing experiences. You can also attend industry events, you can go to conferences, you can join professional bodies. There's a whole range of things that you can start doing right now to start building up your network in the communications industry. This kind of networking can lead to maybe getting a mentor, or getting offered a new job, or spotting opportunities that otherwise might not come your way. Okay, and lastly, I did promise you 3 tips on my advice for long-term success in internal communications. I've worked in this industry for more than a decade. I have seen it all. I have been through the wars. Here's my 3 pieces of advice for you. Number 1, commit to continuous learning. Always be learning something new. That doesn't necessarily mean doing a course every week or doing some formal training. It could simply be something like playing around with a new tool. So maybe you've never done video editing, but you want to start. You might download CapCut and learn how to edit a basic video. Or you might decide that you want to better understand how to influence your audiences. So maybe you want to do some reading around psychology and the psychology of influence. That commitment to constantly expanding your skills and your knowledge, it will serve you really well in your career. Second piece of advice is don't underestimate the power of building relationships. Relationships will make or break your career in internal communications, because internal comms is all about people. You have to understand their needs, you have to build up trust, you have to be able to collaborate well. The stronger your relationships, the more effective you will be as a communicator. And my third piece of advice, don't be afraid to take risks and innovate. Innovation keeps your approach fresh and engaging, because internal communication is not static. It's never flat and staying still. So we always have to be trying new things, taking calculated risks and pushing the boundaries of what's possible to see what else we can achieve. I'm actually so passionate about this. I wrote a book about it. The book is called Innovative Internal Communication. I'll put a link down below if you're interested in that. There you have it, some very practical advice on how to start a career in internal communications. Think about your skill set, think about your training, think about those tips I gave you, and see on the back of this video if you can make yourself a little action plan of simple steps you can start to take right now, even if that's something like setting up a LinkedIn profile for the first time. Okay, that's it from me. Hit that subscribe button if this was useful to you, and I will see you the next time.